Hey, in the next portion of this walkthrough, I'm going to try to make this one a little longer and see if we can get through at least 10 questions here. That's going to be my goal. But we're going to go through it just like we did with the previous ones, using strategies, like underlining and highlighting and looking for what questions they want. So let's just jump right into this one. It says 21, set Q and set Z are subsets of the real number system. Subset just means it's a set below. So we're talking real number system. We have Q is rational numbers, Z is integers. So then it says, which Venn diagram best represents the relationship between set Q and Z and Venn diagram? So that we need to know what these things are in order for us to be successful. So if you don't remember this, you would draw your circles here. We have natural, whole, integers, and then this one right here be your rational. Okay, and if it says rational numbers and integers, that means integers are inside rational. So that means Q would be in, or Z would be inside Q. So for this to fit, Z would be integer and Q would be like that, right? Okay, so now we need to figure out which one fits that best. All right, so A doesn't work because Z is integers and Z is outside, so that's wrong. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. So all integers are rational numbers. That's perfect. Boom. Okay, on to the next one. A teacher bought sets of books at a cost of $17.95 per set. The teacher also paid a one-time shipping fee of $22. Okay, so which table shows the relationship between the total cost of books and the number of sets of books the teacher bought? So first thing we need to do, $17.95 per set and a one-time shipping fee of $72. So they gave us M, they gave us B. So our equation is going to be y equals $17.95 x plus 22. For us to make this work, all we have to do is put these values into our calculator and double check. So I could look at just randomly. If I pick any value on here on this table, I should be able to see, let's put my calculator down so you can see it for one. 16 times 17.95 is that, plus 22. So that says 309.20. So at 16 books, I should have 309.20. So I know it's not H, because H says 682. I know it's not F, because F is also not 309.20. Okay, so that leaves me between G and J. But we just said that 16 times 17.95 is 287, plus 22 gives me 309.20. So the only one that works is J. Okay, and if we want to double check that, let's try another one. 20 times 17.95 equals 359, and 359 plus 22 is 381. Okay, so that one worked out perfect. So it is indeed J. Sometimes we just plug in our numbers in the equation and then we go. Okay. Number 23. Two customers spent the same total amount of money at a restaurant. First customer bought 8 hot wings, left $4 tip. Second customer bought 10 hot wings and left $2.80 tip. Both customers paid the same amount per wing. How much does one hot wing cost at this restaurant? Okay, so amount per wing, that's important. Okay, we see 8 hot wings and $4 tips. We're going to draw a line like this with equals like that because we know that both sides are equal. So we have number 1, we have number 2. So we have two different equations. The first customer bought 8 hot wings. We don't know how much because it says amount per wing. So 8 hot wings at X something plus $4 tip equals this person that bought 10 hot wings. at a certain price, and they left a $2.80 tip. Okay, so now we need to figure out what is X. Okay, so I want my variables on one side and my numbers on the other. I always put my variable on the side with the larger X. So there. So then I subtract the 8X to get it over here. That gives me 2X. This is gone. So we have 4 is equal to 2X plus 280. Now to get the number, this constant to the other side, I subtract 280 there, subtract 280 here, and that should be left with 120. Just so we can double check, because we have calculators. 4 minus 280 is 120. That's equal to 2x. So if 2 wings cost $1.20, and how much does 1 wing cost? Half of that divide by 2, divide by 2. 1 wing is equal to 60 cents. Okay? And that's how we would do that. Once again, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow. If this is helpful for you, I hope it is. Please share with someone else, because this is free advice and free practice to go through real life STAAR questions. Okay. Number 24. The scatter plot shows the relationship between the number of games a baseball team won and the number of hours the team practiced each week during the season. So we got this here. It looks like it's linear, it's positive, right? Like that. Based on the scatter plot, which is the best prediction of number of games. So prediction of number of games the baseball team won if they practice 3 hours each week. Okay. So we're going to look for 3 hours of practice each week, which is X, 3. And we're going to go up until we hit this line. We're looking for the middle of this data, right? And we're going to go this way. Okay, so when I look over across here, I'm looking at, it's not 10 because we're well above 10, right? It's not 15 because we're not quite up there yet. It's definitely not 20 because 20 is up here. The best possible guess would have been 12, right? And so since there's not 12, we go with above 12, which is 13. So we're using educated guesses to make that make sense. Okay, that's all these predictions are with scatter plots. Okay. This one's a number 25. It says which measurements, trying to get that to focus early. Which measurements could represent the side lengths of feet in a right triangle? Okay, so on this is where I'd use a calculator, but they're asking us, does a squared plus b squared equals c squared? Okay, from there we would use our calculator and just say, remember c is the largest side, so we're going to find c on all of these so we can set them equal. Right now I'm going to tell you off the bat it's not b, because equilateral triangles aren't right triangles. Okay, now let's go from there. We're going to look for 10. Does 10 squared plus 24 squared, we have 676. So then we look at 26 squared, push equal. Okay, so far, this is a yes. 10 squared plus 24 squared does equal that. We know it's not B. Does 3 squared plus 3 squared equal 18 squared? So does 9 plus 9, which is 18, equal whatever that is? So let's see. It's 3 squared plus 3 squared equal 18 squared. 18 does not equal 324. You cross it out. So once again, there's always one choice, and since we already found it early on, circle that and move on. But we're just going to double check on this one. 2 squared plus 3 squared. So does 2 squared plus 3 squared equal 5 squared? So 13 does not equal 25, so we cross that out. Okay. If you needed what exactly this is called, this is the converse theorem. Okay. Number 26. says table shows coordinates of vertices of a pentagon A, B, C, D, E. Pentagon A, B, C, D, E is dilated by a scale factor of 7/3. So dilated scale factor 7/3. With the origin as the center of dilation to create pentagon A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime, E prime, if x comma y represents the location of any point on the original pentagon, which ordered pair represents the location of the point of the new one. Prime means new, right? So if what they're saying is if the original is x comma y, what is new? Okay, so basically if they're telling me it's dilated by a scale factor 7/3, then that means that to get to the new one from here, I need to multiply my scale factor of 7/3. 7/3 x comma 7/3 y. Because scale factor is always multiplied by x, scale factor is multiplied by y. So we wouldn't choose h or g because those are addition, okay? And they kind of gave it to you, the scale factor 7/3, so we wouldn't choose that, okay? And that one's pretty straightforward. All right, number 27, we are actually moving pretty good. The dimensions of a cylinder shown in the diagram. Which measurement is closest to the lateral surface area in square centimeters? Okay, so we're going closest, so we're not going to be exact on our answer. We want lateral surface area, and it's a cylinder. Okay, so if I were looking at my formula sheet, I would see that lateral surface area, as I taught my class, is the circumference. Circumference times the height. We know circumference is 2 pi times r, okay, times the height. Okay? Or if you're really fancy, you could do diameter times radius. But we're going to do 2 pi r. So r is 2.9, double check, divided by 2, 2.9. So r equals 2.9. All we have to do is put this into this formula and put the 7.6 into the formula, which is 7.6 is height, and then we're good. So this should be 2 pi 2.9 7.6, and that should give us our value. So we're going to do that quick. 2 pi 2.9 times 7.6. Okay, that value gives us 138 and 48 hundredths. So then it says which one's the closest? The closest one, C. To the next one. The two lines graphed on a coordinate grid represent a system of equations. What is the x-coordinate of the ordered pair that best represents the solution of both equations? So first thing we need is, or what is a system of equation solution? It's the point where they cross. So solution is point where the okay, so from there we can see that that is the origin. So my solution in this case is 0, 0. So it says what is the x coordinate there, and that would be right there. This is y. Okay, so this one right there is my solution, so we would choose that and not work too hard about it. That's it. Okay, so if you see systems of equations, those are probably the easier questions you're going to go to. I didn't highlight anything there because this is really all we need. Where the lines, plural, so we're looking for where they cross there, okay, or wherever they cross in the graph. Okay, on the next one. Number 29. There's a lot to read here. These are kind of discouraging because of all of the words, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and go through and see. Quadrilateral PQRS is dilated with the origin as the center of dilation to create quadrilateral PQRS prime. The coordinates of each vertex are integers. Which statement is true? Okay, let's read through them. So we're saying dilated, that's important. And then it says which statement is true. Each side length of a quadrilateral is half the corresponding side length. Okay, so first we need to figure out how do we get our points. So let's choose, I'm going to choose S because it seems like it's going to be easier. S is negative 12 comma 2, and S prime is negative 6 comma 1. Okay, if I had to do new over original, which this is new over original, this will tell me 1 over 2. So each side length is of PQRS. So each side of the original is half the new. No. PQRS prime is congruent to the original. So new is congruent to original. Now, each angle measure of the quadrilateral is half the corresponding angle measure. Well, if this is a right angle and this is a right angle, they both are still 90 degrees. So no. So last choice, quadrilateral PQRS is similar to quadrilateral QRS. So new is similar to old. Circle, good. Okay. Number 30. The list shows the weight in pounds of 6 puppies at birth. What is the mean absolute deviation of these numbers? Okay. Mean absolute deviation is where, and let me highlight that just so you can see what it's asking. Mean absolute deviation. It's the average distance it's the distance from the mean. So first step, I'm going to write it so you can have it. Step 1, my mean. Step 2, subtract mean from OG data. I'm going to show you what all this looks like again. 3, make all values positive, or take the absolute value, which is why it's called absolute deviation. And then 4, take the mean of that data. Okay, so we're going to add all those numbers up. Do this in my calculator. So I have 3 plus 1.6 is 2.8 is 2.5 plus 1.7 is 2.8. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to add that and divide by 6. So our mean, so step 1, mean is 2.4. We're going to take that 2.4 and subtract it from all of those values. So that's 2.4 minus 3, 2.4 minus 1.6, and so on and so forth. It's 2.8, 2.4 minus 2.5, 2.4 minus 1.7, 2.4 minus 2.8. Okay, let's go ahead and do those real quick. So you got 0.6, it's negative, but we're going to take the absolute value, so it's going to be positive. 2.4 minus 1.6, 0.8. Okay, 2.4 minus 2.8, this is negative 0.4. This one's going to be negative 0.1. This is going to be 0.7, I believe. 2.4 minus 1.7, 0.7. And then lastly, negative 0.4 again. So all these things that are absolute values, they're all going to become positive. So this becomes 0.6, 0.4, 0.1, 0.4. So we're going to add up all these values and take the mean. So let's go ahead and do that. I combined step 2 and 3. So we have 0.6 plus 0.8 plus 0.4 plus 0.1 plus 0.7 plus, that gives us a total of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to divide by 6, and that gives us 0.5. So we added all those together. So 3 divided by 6 equals uh, 0.5 as our mean absolute deviation. Okay, so that's a lot of work, and hopefully you could see what I was doing when I was working on the calculator. But basically, once again, you take the mean of the original data, then you subtract all the values from the mean to see how far they are, make them all positive because mean absolute deviation is positive, and the lower the deviation, the closer it is to the mean. Okay, so 0.5 is really good. All right, let's do one more, and I think that makes 10. We can do two more. We can make it to 32. Okay. So a company is drilling a water well. The graph models a linear relationship between the depth of the well and the time spent drilling, which function represents the relationship between y and x. So basically, we're looking at this, and what is our equation, which function? And it says linear relationship between y and x. So it's a lot of words there, but when we look at our answer choices and we look at this is going through the origin, so we know it's proportional. Which means y equals kx. So now we need to look at which answer choice to show that, so we can cross out C and D, give ourselves a fighting chance. So we're trying to figure out the amount per one, but it's not giving us that. So we have this point here, because remember we're looking for where the commitment is. This point here. So at 5 hours, we've drilled 30 feet. So we go up, and that is 30 over 5, which reduces to 6. So that's 6 feet per hour, which gives us k is 6. So if k is 6, that means y is equal to 6x. Okay, that was pretty straightforward. All right, next one. Okay, maybe I will just finish this whole page out. Which graph does not represent y as a function of x? So when we see represents y as a function of x, which one of these is a function? But I'm going to highlight the word not because not is important. Okay, we're looking for something to do vertical line test. So I'm going to write VLT. Vertical line test means if I draw a vertical line, it should only touch once. So once. So this is good. So we wouldn't check it. Okay, but this one. They don't connect there, so it's fine. It's good, so we don't check it. Boom. Anywhere I touch on here is good, just because it's curved. A curved line doesn't make it not a function. It's the vertical line test, so this is good. So this is a check, so we cross it out. Last one. Anywhere on here we touch more than once, except for right here. So at this point here, it touches here and here. That is not a function. Cross it out. Boom. Okay. Remember, vertical line test has to touch once for it to be a function. If it touches more than once, it is not a function. Okay, so let's go and look at this last one, and then we'll wrap this video up. Mount Fuji in Japan could be modeled as a cone, the diameter of 25 miles and a height of 2.35 miles. Which measurement is closest to the volume of Mount Fuji in cubic miles? Okay, so they want volume of cone. I'm going to highlight that because I saw cone. As a cone, they gave us a diameter 25 miles and a height of 2.35. So remember, volume of cone is 1/3 EH, but we also know that that becomes B equals pi r squared. So that means V is equal to 1/3 pi r squared times h. So we need to replace r with that. But they tell us that D is 25 and h is 2.35. So we're going to replace this with r, which would be 12.5, and now we're going to plug this into this formula. So calculator, control divide 1, 3, and then pi, not that, pi, and r is 12.5, squared. Okay, and that's going to be times 2.35. Okay, so our answer ends up becoming 384.5 cubic miles. So we're looking for our answer choice over here. We know it's that one, it's that one, that's that one. Only one that works is this one. Okay, so we went through 11 questions in 25 minutes, so that was pretty speedy. As you're taking this test, I don't want you to rush like that. Take your time. I'm just going through strategy and showing you what you would be looking for. But once again, hopefully this is helpful for you. Be on the lookout for more as I plan to finish. There's only about 10 or so more questions left, so be looking out for the next video. And once again, if this is helpful for you, tell a friend because we're getting closer to that big day. All right, thanks. Have a good one. Bye.